Hello, this is Zampo. I'm going to talk about the organ of immune system, and here what is very important is I have briefly already shared with you in the previous slide. However, here you will understand little bit in depth of each organs. You are also going to see the function of each organs in the immune response. So when it responds, how it responds, where it forms, and how each organ coordinate each other to bring the effect on the target. So this is what we are going to discuss in this presentation. So okay, I would like to take you to the immune organs. There are two different types of immune organ in our body: primary lymphoid organs and the secondary lymphoid organs. In the primary lymphoid organs like bone marrow, thymus, the maturation sites that will the lymphocytes gets matured, so maturation site. All right. The secondary lymphoids organs are spleen, lymph nodes, malt, galt, trap antigens, APC antigen presenting cells, lymphocytes proliferation. So here malt, galt, and there is also BALT, balt, that is bronchus associated. This I'm talking about here. Malt is found on the mucosal layer, galt is found on the gut, and the balt is found in the bronchus, in the pipeline of the respiratory tract. So balt is BALT, balt, the bronchus associated lymph nodes or the lymph tissue. Okay, so these are the two different types of organs. Sometimes you'd be asked to name the two different lymphoid organs or the lymphatic organs. So primary lymphoid organs and secondary lymphoid organs, you should know about that. Now these lymphoid organs, lymphoid meaning lymphatic organs, okay, lymphatic is that brings about the immunity. So now there is a primary organs like thymus present on the in between the lungs, and bone marrow is just shown here. But bone marrow is found here on the arms, on the limbs, on your thighs, and on your brains, wherever there is a bone. But bones are with the hollow bones that produce a bone marrow. So bones are seen on your the ulna, limbs, and then there is a femur and tibia, and all these are found on these long bones, normally forms the bone marrow. Now there are adenoid and tonsils which are found on your base of your tongue, and there is also lymph nodes which are found on your armpits, around the groin regions, and on your you see there is a Pierre patches, and on your this is called balt, okay, BALT means these yellow dots, because that is called bronchus associated BALT, bronchus associated lymphoid tissue, okay, and this is a balt, and this yellow is a gult, okay, gut associated, and this is malt, that is mucosal associated lymphatic tissue. So this is so these are called Pierre patches. Spleen is also found very close to the liver. Lymphoid nodes, okay, we just finished. Lymphoid nodes are scattered all around our body, but big patches are found under your arms and under your groin regions. That's why most of the time you find these regions are sweating. There is a sweat, or it becomes all the time wet, because these whatever the limbs brings, these the waste particles are excreted out. So then appendix and the lymph nodes, all right, these are secondary and these are primary. Okay, the next is, this is just to show you overall the immune organs. The very important thing is the thymus is present on your between your lungs, then spleen is present along with your liver, and these are the lymph node. Just is a magnified structure, but they are very important for immune response. Similarly, here in your bones is shown here. This bone marrow is very important organ, and therefore it is shown here. So 1 2 3 4 organs are very important, and you'll also see there is a lymphatic vessels. This thread-like structure, lymphatic vessels, where lymphs are moved from one part of your body to another. Now let's go for central immune organs. What are the some of the organ that produced defensive cells. Like central immune organ is the one is bone marrow, thymus, okay, bone marrow and thymus. Now when we say bone marrow, thymus, and there is this brucia of Fabricius is, this brucia of Fabricius is present only in the birds, in on the cloacal regions of the birds. There is a brucia of Fabricius, and that's the reasons why we called B cells, because these B cells get activated only reaching to this site, although it is being produced by bone marrow. Bone marrow produces B cells and T cells. Okay, the B cells gets matured in the birds once they reach to the brucia of Fabricius, and therefore this is called B cells. And why it's another one, T cells? Why T cells? Why cells, particular group of cells is called T cells? Because these cells, when it reaches to the thymus, we saw just before the thymus, once it reaches to the thymus, these cells, these particular cells would get matured. As a result, they are called T cells. So T cells get matured at a thymus, B cell get matured at a brucia of Fabricius. In human being, it happens slightly different, because bone marrow produces these cells, and then it moves to thymus, so it becomes a T cells. And the other one do not move to thymus, but it goes directly to the circulations and it becomes a B cells. In case of human being, please keep in mind, in case of human being, the B cells would not enter to thymus in human being, but it goes directly into the circulation, and it goes to the lymph node and get matured, and therefore they are called B cells. So in the human being I'm talking about, but it got its name because of the brucia of Fabricius. Okay. Now the immune organs in the human body, as is being shown already, and this is just to show you some. And now here there is lymphatic vessels are not being shown, but just to show you how the organs are scattered all around the body. Okay. Then this is lymph node. Lymph nodes, this lymph node brings in the lymphatic vessel, brings in lymph nodes are seen on the armpit, groin regions, on your certain parts of your body. It will remain always clustered. Okay, so these lymph nodes receives the lymph vessels, and it brings all those foreign particles, and it is being filtered within the lymph node. And you see there is two blood vessels, vein and artery. Veins brings the impure blood and then takes away the pure blood here. So the purified blood is taken by the arteries. So there is every node has got such a connections. West lymph would come in, purify all the purified would go into the blood arteries and then moves into the circulation, whereas artery brings the impure one, and then it will be again detoxified or the filtered or do anything here. Now this is just to show you how the lymph node is being interconnected to each other. These are dots are all lymph nodes. Okay, this is in the groin region and is being connected by the lymphatic vessels. Okay, this is overall. Just look at this. This is how the lymphatic vessels are being connected to hands, limbs, brains, heads, all parts of the body. Now, the lymphatic systems is plasma from the blood seeps into the tissue, and it becomes interstitial fluid. Either goes back to the vessels, or it will go to the lymph. So there is a two option for the one, those plasma that flow out of the blood vessels, seeping out into the body tissue. So we call it, once it comes out of the blood vessel, then we call it plasma, and once it comes to the tissue, then we call it interstitial tissue. These does not remain all the time along with the tissue, but it goes back to the circulatory system of blood circulatory system, or it will go to the lymphatic circulatory system. So once it enters to the lymphatic circulatory system, then that is called lymph. So lymph enters to the lymphatic vessels. Thoracic duct is the largest vessels. Okay, this you don't need because it is being always pumped and then move around the body. You have seen all the lymphatic ducts. Okay, then now this is to show you lymphatic lymphatic networks in the body. This is the lymph node, and then how the lymphatic vessel brings those lymphs. Okay, then this one, then development of immune cells. This is very crucial to understand. This becomes very basis for us to understand how the B cells and T cells forms in a human being, and these will also make you understand which are the cells from where. In human being, the bone marrow is very, very, very important. The bone marrow produces the progenitors, which means the ancestors lies in the bone marrow. These cells produce a myeloid progeny, or the myeloid lineage, or the lymphoid lineage, or the lymphoid lines, or myeloid lines. In the myeloid lines, these I'm talking about myeloid lines. In the myeloid lines, the two different types of cells are formed. One is all RBCs, that is red blood cells. Red blood cells and then platelets are formed by the myeloid cells. Myeloid cells also forms the macrophages and neutrophils. Okay, so these two cells are the defense cells. Myeloid cells forms macrophages and neutrophil. Please keep in mind. Likewise, these the lymphoid lineage. Lymphoid lineage forms the natural killer cells, or the another cells directly goes to thymus and differentiate into CD8 plus and CD4 plus. These two, CD8 and CD4s, are formed when the particular group of cells that forms from the blood will convert or differentiate into CD8 and CD4 in the thymus. So these two cells finally forms T helper cells and T cytotoxic lymphoid cells. So CD8 becomes CTL, that is a cytotoxic lymphoid cells. CD8 forms T helper cells 1 and T helper cell 2. Okay, so what you have to understand is CD is clustered determinants, 8 plus. There are 8 different types of cluster determinants. There are 4 plus cluster determinant in this. Okay, the final line is lymphoid also differentiate into, now does not go to these the T cell thymus, but it goes continue to float in the blood vessels, and then it goes elsewhere, or finally goes to the lymph node. These cells differentiate into plasma cells, and it will differentiate, it will try to form, or the memory cells, either it will form a plasma cell or it will form a memory cells. So two different cells are formed. these plasma cells and memory cells, you'll understand later on why they are needed and why they are differentiated into two different types. So same cell, when it reaches to thymus, it differentiate into different thing. When same cell move to other direction, it forms into different things. So this is what you will have to understand very neatly. Okay, now okay, and now this is what we need to this is what lymphoid organs we have seen. This is a thymus. All right, thymus. These bone, whatever the cells is being produced in the bone, get matured in the thymus and enter to the lymph node and stay there for activations. Similarly, a group of cell produced in the bone marrow go directly to the lymph node and remain there to get activated. So one is, this is a B cells, and the other one which goes via thymus is a T cells. Likewise, there is a bilobe on the top of the heart is the thymus. Thymus is present here. So this thymus helps to actually differentiate a group of cells into T cells. Okay, and T cells are CD8 and CD4. You'll know later on what is CD8 and CD4. All right. Now, thymus. We have to understand that thymus gland is for basically to make the T cells matured and functional. Okay, now this is the thymus gland undergo process of maturations and provide an education, meaning T cells must understand what is self, what is non-self. They must understand what is foreign particles, what is their own particles, body particles. If T cells, since T cell destroys whatever comes on the way, so if T cells recognizes the body parts as a foreign, it will destroy. Therefore, it is very important that it gets education. That's why it's here for prior maturation and education. It is sent to thymus, and thymus gives an educations, make it to know self and non-self. Self and non-self. Self means body cell. Non-self is any foreign particles. So if it's a foreign particle, it will act upon it, destroy it. If it is a self, then it will try to preserve, protect. Then function includes the lymph node. Okay, lymph node try to storage of those immune lymphoid cells and try to coordinate the actions against those foreign particles. And the other thing is activation of B cells and T cells. So lymph node helps to actually the activations of B cells and T cells, and a lot of B cells and T cells are stored in the lymph node. This is how the lymph node would look like. These are the different these two are the lymphatic vessel that brings the lymphs into this lymph node. In the lymph node, there is all these B cells and T cells are present, and the macrophages and neutrophils are also present. It all the different the immune cells wait for the time to attack the foreign particles. It doesn't destroy the body cells or the what you call self. And this is how it looks like, lymphoid cells and its flow. And just to show a little brighter picture, and this is how it acts on, like here there is a lot of blood vessels, and there is also the lymphatic vessels which is being here shown here. This is blood vessels and this is lymphatic, but this is all overall, this is and together is an lymph node. But this doesn't happen in isolation, this is all together, is mixed together. So just for demonstration, this is how it is being shown here. Now spleen is the another largest organ, which is abundance of phagocytic, like natural killer cell, neutrophils, and then macrophages are all present here. That's why the spleen is very important for the young fetus, because in the fetus it is large organs are present. In the fetus it is nearly a kg of spleens are present, but as they grow older and older, it will become smaller and smaller and spore, because it is being replaced by some other organs. So this is one of the site where the important filtrations happens. The antibody antigens are shot out here. Internal structure of the spleen, you just look at these. There is a red pulps, and then there is a white pulps in the middle, and then there is a something like red pulps, reddish color, and then white pulp. So these pulps has got a different storage. If you look at the red pulp consists of large number of sinuses where blood vessels comes and goes out, and in the white pulp consists of a lot of aggregation of lymphoid tissue, meaning lymph cells are present in this, immunological cells are present in this layer. Okay, so if you further widen the same structure, you will see like this, the red patches, and there is a white patches. Yeah, same structure. For further to show you more elaborate on that. And okay, so here is the function. Already I said to you that this is lymph, especially for storage and filtrations of those foreign particles and act upon it. This is a particular place where these most of the foreign particles is being trapped. Now other patches like the tonsil, adenoid pair patches, lymphoid aggregates, which I say malt, galt, and then malt, balt, and galt. These are the one which you are going to see in the aggregate. Okay, so this is a balt, this is a malt, and this is a galt. Okay, and there are a lot of organs in the cluster found around these organs. Now lymphoid, this is just to tell you the lymphoid cells, how the lymphoid cells would be when it gets activated, how it get activated. So we are going to of course see about how the T cells and B cells get activated and coordinate to act upon the foreign particles. But however, here it shows that what is the size of these B cells and T cells, how much of the B cells, how much of N cells, how many of T cells are present in these the lymph sorry very sorry in the lymph node, what percentage of a particular cells are present on the lymph node. Okay, sorry. Now now just to recall things, will you be able to name and write the functions of immunological immune organs and immune cells? Where are they found? How do they contribute to the immunity? Describe the internal structure of the immune organ. Name organs like balt, malt, galt. Why immune cells found clustered in a particular area? Why immune organs or the immune cells are found clustered in particular area? Which organ decreases as the age go up? So these are some of the questions that you have to think about. And alright, I think this is around 20 minutes video. So thank you so much, but you need to go through carefully and then to park your questions. If you have especially some areas, if you like to ask, you can park your questions. So I have provided a space for you to write your doubts. Thank you.